Alright, Shalom, Michael. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha, Kodash. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. I'd like to say Shalom to the elect that's teaching His word in our true faith and sincerity. And today I just want to get into a lesson concerning how the destruction will be a cleansing agent upon the planet Earth. You know, these things that's taking place upon the planet Earth is an effort to overthrow the wicked and the righteous will be set up in its stead. And this is not going to be a smooth transition, so to speak. It's going to be a very turbulent one. Where the scriptures talk about, thus with violence, shall this city be thrown down, man. And that's what's going to happen. By the way of World War III, America will be totally destroyed. And in it, this will cement the fall of the so-called white man. And when you hear destruction, people think it's just as reckless. You hear destruction, you think about debris everywhere and, you know what I mean, holes in the wall or whatever the case may be. Well, this destruction is with which we in that destruction, that destructuring process. It's this process of cleaning up the earth. Which we doing it now. The earth is being cleansed by the way of the lies. It's being washed away. But guess what? It's going to even come on a physical level by the way of the Lord actually bringing forth the destruction, because the wicked is in power. So let's get some real quick. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 10 verse 12. It says, the beginning of pride is when one departed from the Most High, and his heart is turned away from his Maker. And that's the so-called white man is guilty of this, because it talks about how pride compels them without as a chain. He's bound by it. And we seeing the results of it, him being proud and departing from the Most High, with these laws and legislations from the food these people eat, such as crab and lobster, shrimp, which in this place is considered a delicacy. But according to Yahweh Shema Shai, that's an abomination. You shouldn't eat those things. That's proud that this man came up with a damn red lobster or Piggly Wiggly. Even take it to a further step, this man passed laws and legislation concerning the LGBT. And their banner is the rainbow. Well, it just shows that's another sort of sign that we, once again, in the time of Noah, to where the Lord pretty much cleansed that wickedness by the way of that flood. Matter of fact, verse 13 says, for pride is the beginning of sin, and he that have it shall pour out abomination. And don't we see that from the so-called white man? He talks about that it is fully set in them to do evil, because that the judgment has not speedily came yet. And we seeing the results of the so-called white man and him, having his free course. Now there's a thing called air pollution. The water's polluted. You got chemtrails, GMO foods, these different lifestyles, these different outlooks and ideologies. All this abomination that you see on the planet Earth, and who it come from? The so-called white man. Matter of fact, let's get something real quick. It's like Wisdom Psalm 14:9 says, for the ungodly and his ungodliness are both alike hateful to the Most High. So as these abominations are being poured forth, this ungodliness that we see It comes from the ungodly. It's a stench in the air, but it's a source. And that source is the so-called white man, the biblical Edomites. You know? So he's the reason why these things are how they is. You know? He's the one that's pouring it out from these things being put into laws and legislations to a fucking commercial. The commercial is selling insurance to you, but it's a fucking homo couple in the scenario trying to come up with a better insurance. Fuck them, man. Sirach 10:13, for pride is the beginning of sin, and he that have it shall pour out abomination. See? So he's the one that's bound by pride. And we seeing this abomination being pulled forth. It says, and therefore the Lord brought upon them strange calamities and overthrew them utterly. And guess what? That strange calamity in this time, that fire. We also preaching the rain. And this rain is going to come by fire. Just going back to the time of Noah, you know, all this wickedness that's on the planet Earth, the Lord came up with a solution to just drown everybody by the way of this horrific flood. Well, guess what? Concerning this time of wickedness, the solution is the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, drown these people by the way of that flood. A fire this time. That lake of fire, which will be America, man. When this whole landmass will be totally in flames by the way of World War III. You know, the missiles, as well as the so-called UFOs, which that has been in the talks in the news lately. So-called UFOs. But you see, the Lord brought upon them strange calamities and overthrew them utterly. And what was those strange calamities? As I mentioned, the chariots. But it said, also mentioned those missiles, which is considered rain of fire. See, this is what's going to cleanse. This is what's going to make things right. See, that saying, a breath of fresh air, it has become figurative under the watch of the so-called white man. That's not even a literal saying. But guess what's going to clean that? The destruction. The air and the water, you know, this hard reset is needed. But it's going to be by the way of the destruction that's going to bring it forth. Just like when you purge something, or you see someone, they might light their grass on fire. They burn the grass and it come back green. Well, that's what to take place. The Lord is about to send that fire, man. And life is going to spring forth. So this is Wisdom Solomon 16:16, for the ungodly that deny to know thee. See, and that's talking about Esau as well. It talks about that Psalms 50, thou hatest instruction and castest my words behind me. So you got the book, you know it, you got certain relics and artifacts to prove that Yahweh Shema Shai is the powers of earth, is the powers of heaven and earth. But you deny to know the Lord, and it's playing out through your actions. It says, we're scourged by the strength of our arm, which is our Lord Yahweh Shai. He's going to bring that reward. It says, with strange rain. So this is how the Lord's going to overthrow this man with that strange calamity. It's going to be by the way of strange rains, hails, and showers, where they persecuted. And you can also read that in, I believe it's Revelation, the 16th chapter, concerning that hail storm, that hail. And those stones was as the weight of a talent. That's talking about the warheads coming down. But it's gonna look like rain. It says, with strange rains and hails and showers were they persecuted, that they could not avoid, and through fire were they consumed. See, this is how the Lord's gonna cleanse the earth of the wickedness, you know, of the so-called white man. Which This is going to cement him not even ruling from him. It's going to cut him off from calling the shots. But also, this destruction is actually going to contribute to the earth being restored. Let's get that. Isaiah 24. And verse 19, it reads, the earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. See? And that's concerning when the destruction takes place. It's going to, the next verse it talks about how it shall reel to and fro like a drunkard. What's going to cause that? The Third World War. But it said the earth is clean dissolved. This is going to be that cleansing agent. That fire, man. This is what's going to uproot the wickedness, as well as I mentioned, the air and shit. From the results of they got those nuclear winters. The results of these missiles hitting ground zero, and that fire from America burning for a long time. Or even talks about, going back to Wisdom of Solomon, the 16th chapter, how that fire is going to even burn even hotter in the water because these different trash islands. When you read Deuteronomy, I believe it's 32, it talks about how that fire is going to kindle to the lowest hell. That means really the ground where these damn wires and shit, sewer systems, all that shit going to be rooted up and burned up, man. This is what's going to attribute to the cleansing. And other things, the Lord is going to do it like he's sweeping out the wickedness, and we'll end off on that. That beast of destruction. Let's get it. This is Isaiah 14. And I started 21. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers. See, and this is their time. The time where Edom was going to be judged. When you read Jeremiah the 49th chapter, it talks about his seed is going to be spoiled. So this is that time where these devils is about to get their judgment that they earned, that they worked hard for, because they are their fathers. It said that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. See? And that shows that also put the so-called white man on the scene. He's known for these different cities. It says, for I will rise up against them, said the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, said the Lord. See? So they're not going to bounce back. Ain't no way they're going to be able to come back or pick up the pieces. And no, that's not going to be the case. That's why I says, I will also make it a possession for the bitter in pools of water. See? Because ultimately, when the smoke cleanse does settle, America is going to be a desert. It's going to be a memorial. What not to do. The wickedness. This is the results of being wicked, man. When you read Joel the 18th chapter, towards the last verse, it says, I will also make it a possession for the bitter and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith the Lord of hosts. See? And when you sweeping it, you ain't sweeping to spread the dust everywhere. No, you clean. That's a cleaning tool. When you sweep something, you clean it, man. So that's what's going to happen. The Lord is going to sweep the wickedness away by the way of this Third World War. And we seeing the cleaning process, as I mentioned earlier, when you read 2 Ezra the 6th chapter, concerning how lies and deception will be quenched. But then it's going to grow to where the Lord is going to uproot the wicked, even on a physical level. The air and the water, will be cleansed in this process as well. So yeah, I just hope that we're edifying, like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakha, Kodash. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. I'd like to say Shalom, DTA, Abba, soon, very soon.